Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Deepika, and coming up in the next 1 hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays homage to Mauritius' founding father Sir Sivasagar Ramgoolam and former President and Prime Minister Sir Jugnauth. Russia says Moscow hit by massive drone attack as Ukrainian and US officials hold peace talks in Jeddah. Greenland holds parliamentary polls amid repeated threats from US President Donald Trump to take over the world's largest island. And global markets sank again amid fears that US President Donald Trump's policies could plunge economy into a recession. Nasdaq suffers biggest one-day loss since September 2022. Good afternoon to all our viewers joining us at this afternoon broadcast, where we are continuously tracking Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Mauritius. Well, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Mauritius on a two-day state visit, where he called on the new President of the Republic of Mauritius, Dharampir Gokul. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will next hold a meeting with his Mauritian counterpart, and later in the evening, Prime Minister will also meet and interact with the Indian community in Mauritius. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi visited Sir Sivasagar Ramgoolam Botanical Garden, where he paid homage to Sir Sivasagar Ramgoolam and Sir Jugnauth, the two great leaders who have made indelible contributions to Mauritius' progress. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also planted a bale sapling in the garden under Plant for Mother initiative, which is also called as Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam. Prior to this, Prime Minister had undertaken a similar initiative during his visit to Guyana as well. Due to the incessant efforts of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the initiative has resulted in planting of more than 1 billion trees across India. With a total of over 27,500 trees already planted in around 136 countries across the world, the latest example coming in from Mauritius. Upon his arrival at Mauritius' capital Port Louis earlier in the morning, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a grand and warm welcome. In a special gesture, Mauritius Prime Minister Naveen Ramgoolam welcomed his Indian counterpart with a warm hug. There was a total of 200 dignitaries present to welcome Prime Minister Narendra Modi at this early hour, including the MPs, the MLAs, diplomatic corps and religious leaders as well. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was accorded with a ceremonial welcome at the airport. Prime Minister will also attend the National Day celebrations as the chief guest on the 12th of March on the 57th National Day of Mauritius. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a rousing welcome on his arrival by the members of Indian community in Mauritius. Chants of Modi, Modi echoed. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi commenced his first day in Mauritius, India's Ministry of External Affairs shared an overview of his meetings and programs for the day.
Namaste. The Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, has arrived in Mauritius on his historic state visit. At the airport, on arrival, he was warmly received in a special gesture by Prime Minister of Mauritius, His Excellency Dr. Naveen Ramgoolam. There were several other dignitaries to welcome him at the airport. There was ceremonial welcome, and at the hotel we had the Indian community members giving him a rousing welcome in Mauritius. Around evening, he meets or addresses the Indian community diaspora here in Mauritius along with the Prime Minister of Mauritius. And in the evening, he has a meeting with the Prime Minister, who will also be hosting a banquet in his honor. Tomorrow is a big day, National Day of Mauritius. Prime Minister will be participating as a chief guest in the national celebrations of their independence.
A Bihari tradition welcomes Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mauritius. Prime Minister Narendra Modi was welcomed by traditional Geet Gavai. Geet Gavai is a traditional Bhojpuri musical ensemble that embodies the rich cultural heritage brought to Mauritius by women from the Bhojpuri belt of India. In recognition of its cultural significance, Geet Gavai was inscribed as UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity in December 2016. And to get you more on this, I am joined by DD India correspondent straight from Mauritius, Akshay Dongre is joining us. Good afternoon, Akshay from India. When we talk about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's much-awaited visit to Mauritius, we saw the rousing welcome, the kind of respect he received from the entire cabinet of Mauritius, and also the latest wreath-laying ceremony as well as Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative getting another huge boost. What else are we expecting throughout the day on day one, Akshay?
Well, now one of the most awaited event is going to take place in Mauritius, Deepika. That is going to be the community event. Now, remembering that the Indian diaspora comprises of about 70% of Mauritius' population, and that's the reason why this community event, the diaspora event, is going to be extremely important as far as Prime Minister's visit is concerned, the two-day state visit. And as we have seen that everywhere Prime Minister goes, he ensures that he communicates with the Indian diaspora anywhere he goes around the world, and that is what is going to take place here. But one of the most important thing and distinguished thing that is going to happen here is the fact that Prime Minister will be interacting with the community that represents about 70% of the population of this island nation. Now, besides that, President Narendra Modi will also be hosted by the Prime Minister of Mauritius, Dr. Naveen Chandra Ramgoolam, and we can expect other kind of engagement, bilateral talks between the two leaders as well. And tomorrow as well, President Narendra Modi's schedule is packed as far as his bilateral engagements are concerned. President Narendra Modi is also going to be the chief guest at the National Day of Mauritius, that is the day which marks the independence of Mauritius as well. So clearly, President Narendra Modi's engagements are lined up, and a lot is expected to come out of this two-day visit, where President Narendra Modi and the government of Mauritius are expected to discuss the range of issues that concern both the countries, as well as the development initiatives that both the countries are looking forward to, including the pharmaceutical sector, the healthcare sector, education sector. Then there is infrastructure development, development in tourism sector. There's a lot to learn from each other, and that perhaps the reason why Prime Minister's visit was much awaited here in Mauritius as well. And now that the Prime Minister is here, all eyes are on the outcomes of this two-day state visit. Back to you, Deepika.
How important is Mauritius to India considering the Sagar initiative as well, Akshay?
Well, we have seen that the Indian government has been quite vocal as far as neighborhood first policy is concerned. In fact, when Prime Minister Narendra Modi was sworn in, his a major focus was on the neighborhood first policy. In fact, the delegation from Mauritius was not only present in the first swearing-in ceremony of President Narendra Modi, but in all of his three swearing-in ceremonies in 2014, in 2019, and then again in 2024 as well. So there has been a consistency of strengthening of relations that has been going on as far as the two countries are concerned. So we can expect that both the countries are quite ready, in fact, to take their relationship to the next level. In fact, I spoke exclusively. We had a conversation with the foreign minister of Mauritius, where he said that the countries expecting to take the traditional ties between the two countries to the next level, to a strategic comprehensive relationship, which is going to strengthen both the countries. Now, coming back to your question about the Sagar initiative, India is a residential power. in the Indian Ocean region. This is the same area where Mauritius lies as well, besides Mauritius also being called the gateway to Africa, and that is the reason why the concerns that are there for India in terms of freedom of trade, freedom of movement in the Indian Ocean region, the net security of the entire Indian Ocean region. Both India and Mauritius have been in close contact as far as the security aspect of, especially the maritime security of the region is concerned. And this is where Mauritius plays a key role. It is located right in the middle of the Indian Ocean region, right next to the African continent. So as far as the kind of security initiatives of India is concerned, it also is linked to the countries that are located in the region. And as far as the Sagar initiative is concerned, it is incomplete without a role of Mauritius in it, and that is the reason why Mauritius becomes extremely important when it comes to the overall security of the Indian Ocean region is concerned. So that is also one of the reasons why both the countries are expected to take their relation to a comprehensive relationship as well as exchanging defense ties, exchanging cultural ties, and enhancing the economic ties between the two countries. So there is a lot of excitement which is extremely palpable here in Mauritius, with people treating this visit by President Narendra Modi as the return of one of their family members after a gap of about a decade. So that is the reason why the kind of excitement that we are seeing here is quite evident with the Prime Minister and several top leadership themselves going to the airport to receive the Prime Minister as soon as he landed in the country.
All right. Thank you so much, Akshay, for joining us from Ground Zero and bringing us the latest on the current and ongoing developments from Mauritius. Now, Ganga Talao, also known as Grand Basin, is referred as Mauritius's most significant Hindu pilgrimage site, symbolizing the Ganges River of India. The holy waters of Ganga Talao were infused with water from the Ganges River in the year 1972. The lake is surrounded by temples dedicated to Lord Shiva, Lord Ganesh and Lord Hanuman. The Shiva temple at Ganga Talao, believed to be the 13th Jyotirlinga according to local legend, was established in the year 1897 by Pandit Chumun Giri. During the visit of India's President Draupadi Murmu to Mauritius back in the year 2024, it was announced that the government of India will support the redevelopment of Ganga Talao complex into a religious, cultural and tourism hub. DD India's Akshay Dongre spoke with the trustee and caretaker of the sacred lake in Mauritius on the significance of it. Take a look.
We are currently at Ganga Talao in Mauritius, one of the most revered spiritual and religious sites. And to talk about how this place is significant, we also have Mr. Satish Dayal with us. Sir, thank you so much for speaking with us. There is a lot of interest as far as the Ganga Talao is concerned. Many people also consider the temple here as the 13th Jyotirlinga as well in India too. So as the Prime Minister is arriving here in Mauritius, there is a lot of interest as far as India is concerned and in the world as well that these kind of places exist in Mauritius. So can you tell us about the significance of this Ganga Talao?
The Ganga Talao is a very important place, it's spiritually revered place as you mentioned it. It is a Tirthistan, a place of pilgrimage too. And recently it has been declared as a heritage, a spiritual heritage too. For the Hindu, it is a great symbol.
Right.
It is a great symbol because Ganga Talao is a sacred lake. In spite of being a sacred lake, it's a volcanic lake too. And it is a natural lake.
Right.
For Hindu, it is a great symbolism, this lake itself. The two things at Ganga Talao is very important. One is the lake itself. Secondly, the world 13th Jyotirlinga is here. The 12th Jyotirlinga in India, it is the only one which is outside India. And it is considered as the main temple of the country. And very often we used to experience miraculous happenings. And the temple is very, very famous all throughout the world.
You heard all the significance of this Ganga Talao and like Mr. Dayal has explained to us in so many words that how special and pious this lake is and how Mauritius is perhaps the only country outside India that has a Jyotirlinga as well. With camera person Ajit Kumar, I'm Akshay Dongre, DD India.
INS Imphal has arrived at Port Louis, marking her maiden visit to participate in the 57th Mauritius National Day celebrations. Now, this visit aligns with the long-standing tradition of Indian Navy warships and aircraft contributing to such significant events. INS Imphal will participate in the National Day parade with a marching contingent, naval band and a fly-past by integral helicopter as part of the celebrations. The ship will field a marching contingent, naval band and helicopters for the fly-past at Champ de Mars in Mauritius. We're heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. Kurdish-led and US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces have signed a deal to integrate into Syria's new state institutions. Former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte is arrested at Manila's International Airport on an international criminal court warrant. Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now, US and Ukrainian officials began their talks in Saudi Arabia on Tuesday to find a path towards ending the conflict with Russia. During the meeting, a top advisor to President Volodymyr Zelensky said Ukraine wants peace and is ready to negotiate to end the conflict. Ukrainian President Zelensky hopes that the talks in Jeddah will revive pragmatic US ties after his disastrous meeting with US President Donald Trump last month. At least 2 people were killed in Moscow's southern suburbs after Ukraine struck the Russian capital with the largest drone attack on Monday. Russia repelled the massive attack, claiming to have shot down 337 drones across the country. As many as 91 drones were intercepted near the capital, while another 126 were downed in the Kursk region near the Ukrainian border. The attack comes just hours before a high-level meeting between US and Ukrainian officials in Saudi Arabia, where discussions are expected to focus on the ongoing conflict. The Kurdish-led and US-backed Syrian Democratic Forces has signed a deal agreeing to integrate into Syria's new state institutions. The deal, which included a complete cessation of hostilities, was signed by interim Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara and the SDF's commander Mazloum Abdi. Under the deal, all the civilian and military institutions in northeast Syria will be integrated within the state, which will thus take over the control of borders, airports, oil and gas fields. Meanwhile, a surge in violence in the country's Alawite region resulted in gunfighting on the streets of Syria's Latakia. Interim Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara said on Monday that such incidents of violence threatened his efforts to unite Syria after 14 years of conflict. Now, Greenland will hold a parliamentary election today, with independence a key campaign theme after US President Donald Trump said he wants control over the world's biggest island. Polling stations will open at 4:30 p.m. IST today and close at 3:30 a.m. IST, March the 12th. No exit polls will be conducted and results are expected between 6:30 a.m. IST and 8:30 a.m. IST on the 12th March. Of the 6 parties running, only Nalavark has promised to hold a snap vote on independence, and all the parties except for Atsuyat support secession. The vote comes at a time of heightened international interest in Greenland, particularly after US President Donald Trump expressed a desire to acquire the island, underscoring its strategic and economic significance. Greenland's Prime Minister criticized Donald Trump's remarks, stating that the island deserves respect and will prioritize relations with nations that acknowledge its sovereignty. In his speech to Congress last week, Trump said that he would acquire Greenland one way or the other. And on Sunday, he attempted to appeal to Greenlanders directly by reiterating his invitation to join the US and pledging to invest billions of dollars to create new jobs and make them rich. Now, Greenland, which is the sparsely populated island, has caught global attention as US President Donald Trump has set his eyes on acquiring the mineral-rich territory from Denmark for economic and strategic purposes. Meanwhile, indigenous identity is seeing a revival and call for independence is getting louder there in Greenland. TD India correspondent Shubhendu Ghosh gets you more. Take a look.
We need Greenland for national security and even international security. And I think we're going to get it. One way or the other, we're going to get it.
US President Donald Trump's unambiguous interest in Greenland has shaken the status quo in the world's largest island this election season. Some see it as a historic opportunity to push for freedom from Danish influence, while others caution a rashly attained independence may make Greenland more vulnerable to the expansionist ambitions of the American president. Greenlanders vote in the general elections on March 11th. Greenland's parliament is called Inatsisartut. The parliament comprises 31 members and elections are held every 4 years. Greenland is not divided into electoral districts. The whole of Greenland constitutes a single constituencies. A total of 6 parties and 213 candidates are in the fray in these elections. At present, Greenland operates a semi-autonomous territory under the Kingdom of Denmark. Indigenous identity is seeing a revival in Greenland ahead of the elections. All the main parties support independence, but they differ on how and when it could be achieved. The ruling Inuit Ataqatigiit IA party, a left-wing faction headed by Prime Minister Mute Ege, advocates an unhurried approach to Greenland's independence. On the other hand, Greenland's largest opposition party, Nalerak, and its leader, Pelle Broberg, want to see a swift transition to full independence.
The idea, the vision of becoming independent and being here in our own house has been a long time coming. It has been going on for many decades. It is nothing new. It has not just happened.
I want to make it very clear that in the eyes of the Danish government, Greenland is for the Greenlandic people. It is a very proud people with its own language and culture. It is a people that is their own. And as the chairman of the government of Greenland has stated before, Greenland is not for sale.
In addition to the question of independence, the country's relations with Denmark and the US, social services, tourism, as well as its fragile fishing and Danish grants-dependent economy are the main voter concerns. As a country, Greenland would be the 12th largest in the world by area. It is also the least populated region with a population of around 57,000 scattered in a few coastal towns and remote settlements. Almost 80% of Greenland's landmass is covered by the ice sheet. The sparsely populated region is believed to hold billions of tons of untapped rare earth minerals and oil reserves. Greenland's strategic location and resources make it an attractive acquisition for the American president. US already has a military base in northwest of Greenland. The general elections are expected to reveal where and how the Greenlanders see their future. Shubhendu Ghosh's report for TD India.
Former Philippines President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested on Tuesday after landing at Manila's international airport by police acting on an international criminal court warrant over his deadly war on drugs. Now, Duterte's war on drugs was a signature policy after he swept to power in 2016 after crime-busting campaign vowed to kill narcotics dealers. Human rights groups claim that Philippines police and vigilantes under their direction killed unarmed drug suspects on a massive scale on Duterte's watch, allegations that the authorities have denied. The ICC has said it would pursue an investigation of suspected crimes against humanity. While Duterte subsequently withdrew the Philippines from the ICC, the government under new leader Marcos has indicated Duterte could be handed over. Duterte said on Monday in Hong Kong that he was ready to be arrested if the ICC issues a warrant. Now let's get you the weather update. Cyclone Alfred has brought severe weather to eastern Australia, triggering widespread flooding. Over 120,000 homes and businesses are currently without power. Emergency crews have been working tirelessly to rescue people stranded in floodwaters. The intense rainfall has swollen the rivers, inundating areas along the east coast, particularly in the southeast Queensland and northeast New South Wales. Australian weather authorities have issued flood warnings, with rivers expected to keep rising throughout the day. Turning to Asia, in Iraq, the city of Doha has experienced severe flooding on its streets due to heavy rains in the northern Kurdistan region. The jet A1 fuel leak in the North Sea after a collision of the US tanker and cargo vessel has sparked global environmental concerns, with experts warning that it could lead to devastating effects on marine life and its ecosystem. DD India's Yashasvi brings you more. Take a look.
A tanker carrying jet fuel for the US military collided with a container ship off northeast England on Monday, sparking a massive blaze and multiple explosions. The incident forced both crews to abandon ship. 36 crew members were rescued and one taken to hospital. The tanker, Stena Immaculate, was carrying around 220,000 barrels of jet fuel, while the container ship, Solong, had 15 containers of sodium cyanide on board. The collision ruptured the tanker's cargo tank, releasing fuel into the sea and raising concerns about environmental harm, particularly to protected seabird colonies and marine life. All vessel movements were suspended in the vicinity, and Germany dispatched a vessel for firefighting and oil recovery.
The problem with this sort of spill is that it will evaporate, but also it makes it more dangerous in terms of likely explosions. So, it has to be dealt with very carefully. I think it's highly unlikely it's going to explode when it hits the coast, but it will cause pollution incidents along the coast.
The incident has sparked concerns about multiple toxic hazards and environmental harm, as jet A1 fuel is highly flammable and toxic. The UK Coast Guard ended the search for the missing crew member after an extensive search. Collisions remain rare in the busy North Sea, but this incident highlights the importance of maritime safety and environmental protection. Bureau Report, DD India.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the world in brief. 18 people killed and dozens of them injured after a passenger bus overturned on a highway in southern Mexico. The authorities said the bus was carrying over 40 people. Meanwhile, cause of the accident is under investigation. Japanese automaker Nissan Motor Co. Limited announced on Tuesday that its chief executive officer Makoto Uchida will step down from the role at the end of the month of March. After that, its chief planning officer Ivan Espinosa will take the helm from the 1st of April. Hundreds of people visited Paris's landmark Pompidou Museum before the prestigious art collection hub for a major renovation. To mark the occasion, the modern art institution held a museum in celebration, with a dance performance taking place among the works of art and spectators. We are now heading for a short break, but still to come on DD India News Hour. India's President Draupadi Murmu attends convocation ceremony of Central University of Punjab. First lunar eclipse of the year on the 13th-14th March.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked, we just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. It's now time to quickly recap the top headlines of the hour. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi pays homage to Mauritius' founding father Sir Sivasagar Ramgoolam and former President and Prime Minister Sir Jugnauth. Russia says Moscow hit by massive drone attack as Ukrainian and US officials hold peace talks in Jeddah. Greenland holds parliamentary polls amid repeated threats from US President Donald Trump to take over the world's largest island. India's President Draupadi Murmu attended the convocation ceremony of Central University of Punjab in Bathinda. In her address, President Draupadi Murmu said the convocation marks to an end of one phase in students' life and beginning of another phase where they implement their knowledge to practical uses.
ये समारोह विद्यार्थियों के जीवन में एक चरण के संपन्न होने और दूसरी चरण के शुभारंभ की अवसर है। मुझे विश्वास है कि सभी विद्यार्थी अपने आचरण और योगदान से इस विश्वविद्यालय की अपने परिवार की तथा देश की प्रतिष्ठा बढ़ाएंगे।
President of India Draupadi Murmu also congratulated the female students for their meritorious achievements, adding that an educated woman shapes a better developed society.
मुझे ये देखकर विशेष प्रसन्नता हुई है कि आज के पदक विजेताओं में बेटियों की संख्या लगभग 65% है, जहां 9 में से 8 बालिकाएं हैं। मैं इन होनहार बेटियों को फिर से बहुत बहुत बधाई देती हूँ। महिलाओं का विकास समाज के विकास का दर्पण है। शिक्षित महिलाएं सुदृढ़ समाज का निर्माण करती हैं। मुझे पूरा विश्वास है कि बेटियां विकसित भारत के निर्माण के हमारे सपने को सुंदर स्वरूप प्रदान करेंगे।
The 34th meeting of the Standing Committee of Voluntary Agencies, chaired by Dr. Jitendra Singh, who is the Minister of State for Personal, Public Grievances and Pensions, successfully concluded in New Delhi. The meeting served as a key platform for discussions on pensioners' welfare, with participation from pensioners' welfare associations across various states and officials from key ministries and departments. The forum facilitated meaningful deliberations on policy implementation and concerns affecting pensioners, reinforcing the government's commitment to their well-being.
We did away with all the avoidable clauses, and then we went online, then also started this Bhavishya portal, and I think one of the the greatest success stories has been the life certificate, which is now actually being emulated even by some of the other countries. We have that delegation from Zambia, from Bangladesh. They are coming over to understand what's it all about. I am also glad that we were among the first in the government sector to have introduced face identification technology. Otherwise, earlier it was being used by the criminal world, crime world. So it not for a positive purpose. So we were the first to actually, and it took up as a mass campaign. We have visuals circulated on the social media where the grandchildren are taking fancy in teaching their grandparents how to register their life certificate.
India has successfully repatriated 283 Indian nationals from Myanmar, bringing them back on an Indian Air Force aircraft from Thailand on Monday. Now, these individuals were lured to Southeast Asian countries with fake job offers and later forced into cybercrime and other fraudulent activities. The Indian embassies in Myanmar and Thailand worked closely with the local authorities to secure their release. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar met the Armenian Foreign Minister Ararat Mirzoyan and held delegation-level talks in Delhi on Monday. The two ministers held productive discussions where they reviewed the whole range of growing India-Armenia bilateral cooperation. They agreed to explore cooperation in digital technologies and pharmaceuticals. The discussions also focused on multilateral cooperation at the UN and other fora. Dr. S. Jaishankar, in his opening remarks, underlined the long-standing relationship between both the countries and endeavoured to strengthen it further.
Today, of course, we have good political cooperation. I think our trade figures are increasing. We have defense collaboration. Culture has always been a strong point. There are a lot of Indian students in Armenia. We thank you for looking after them. And I think we have a very good exchange of people. So our agenda really is on how to take each one of these dimensions forward. I look forward to discussing how best we can do that. We also, at the international multilateral level, work very closely together. Your membership of the International Solar Alliance, your participation in the Voice of the Global South, we are really very pleased you've joined the also, I think, the International Big Cats Alliance, if I'm not mistaken.
And now let's take a look at other stories making news around the country in brief. In a significant drug bust, 98,000 Yaba tablets valued at around $3.6 million have been seized by police in Assam's Kachar district. One person has been arrested in connection with the drug case. The eShram portal has registered over 30.68 crore unorganized workers since its launch in 2021, marking a significant milestone. The portal has helped create a comprehensive database of workers with over 53% of registrations from women. Ahead of the Holi festival, Indian Railways has announced over 400 special trains, including Vande Bharat trains. These special trains aim at providing smoother and more efficient travel for people travelling to celebrate the festival across various regions of India. Sky gazers are in for a treat as the first lunar eclipse of the year 2025 is all set to take place this week, coinciding with the Indian festival of Holi. On the 14th of March, a total lunar eclipse will occur, turning the moon a deep red shade, which is why it's called a blood moon. Interestingly, this year the blood moon has a special connection with Holi. During the eclipse, the moon will pass into the Earth's shadow and gradually change its color from grey to pink, orange and then finally red. This lunar eclipse is completely safe to watch with naked eyes. The best view will be in North and South America, where the eclipse will be fully visible. However, people in Europe, Africa and the Asia will only get to see a partial eclipse. Indian Film Festival South Africa took place in Johannesburg, showcasing popular Bollywood films, some of which were dubbed in South African national languages. The festival coincided with the celebration of International Women's Day, honouring women within the film industry. DD India correspondent Nazneen Ismail gets you more. Take a look.
It's purple carpet arrivals with royalty, dignitary, VIPs and myself, and this is the Indian Film Festival South Africa, proudly brought to you by the High Commission of India, Pretoria, the Consulate General of India, Johannesburg and Zee Entertainment Africa. India takes centre stage as the ultimate destination for international filmmakers. Celebrating the rich legacy of Indian cinema, the country offers breathtaking locations and world-class production services, transforming storytelling into cinematic magic. This extraordinary tribute highlights India's growing influence in global filmmaking.
It is an honor to address you today in this ceremony, where we celebrate the extraordinary contributions of South African women in cinema as part of the India-South Africa Film Festival. I am happy to be part of this recognition of talent, resilience and creativity, qualities that not only shape the world of film, but also reflect the strength of the women who have long been at the heart of our shared history.
As we all know, cinema is more than entertainment. It is a mirror of our societies, a bridge across continents, and a testament to the enduring ties between our nations. From the days of Mahatma Gandhi's time in South Africa and to Nelson Mandela's admiration for India's freedom struggle, our histories have intertwined, and today our films continue that legacy.
Renowned figures from the film industry came together for a panel discussion on India's emergence as a global powerhouse in filmmaking. They highlighted India's technological advancements, positioning it as the ideal production hub for international content creators. As we celebrated International Women's Day with the Indian Film Festival South Africa, we reflected on the ongoing journey towards a safer, fairer and more gender equal world.
These type of festivals not only bring people, but it connects one to their roots, and that is more important.
Look at how strong our community is. We have penetrated every single industry and we have executed with excellence. So South Africa is not the same without our community and the presence of our incredibly talented, hardworking, diligent Indian community.
South Africa, for some reason, I think Indians feel kind of connected to South Africa, and I think South Africa also has this, kind of an affection for India. And I mean, Pink is the film that they're screening today, and it's a film that's so close to my heart. It's a beautiful film. It's a very powerful film.
March 8th serves as a powerful reminder to keep gender equality at the forefront of the global conversation, inspiring change and progress in every industry, including cinema. The lights are dimming, the cameras are packing up, and the popcorn is finally out. It's a wrap-up. I'm Nazneen for DD India, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Time to take a short break, but still to come on the other side. Up next, we'll get you all the latest updates on Asian markets in our business segment. In sports, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu all set to spearhead India's charge at All England Badminton Tournament. And Carlos Alcaraz powers into last 16 of Indian Wells Masters in tennis.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twist.
Welcome back after that short break. You're watching DD India News Hour. Now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of business. The world market stumbled on Monday based on the fears of an impending US recession. Experts are sounding out that the prospect of a recession in the US is lurking, with consumer confidence falling and companies facing increasing trade complexity. Investors are turning more nervous and markets sending jitters to signal its apparent unease.
Are the policies of US President Donald Trump pushing the US economy to the recession quagmire? At least 70 out of 74 economists in US, Canada and Mexico contacted by Newswire services Reuters think so. So do the experts at many financial firms at the Wall Street. And the markets may have just given a stinging reminder. Global markets slumped on Monday with Wall Street logging sharp losses over fears of recession. Uncertainty over Trump's tariffs and threats have left U.S. financial markets in turmoil and consumers unsure of what the year might bring. Nasdaq Composite Index plummeted by 4.0%. The S&P 500 was down 2.7%, both seeing worst today since 2022. The S&P 1500 Super Composite Index, one of the widest measures of the U.S. stock market, has lost nearly $4.9 trillion in value since its record high in mid-February. The Nasdaq was bogged down by retreats in tech stocks, including Google parent Alphabet, Apple, Amazon, Meta, and Nvidia. Tesla, led by Trump's billionaire advisor Elon Musk, closed more than 15% down. While markets were previously bolstered by hopes of tax cuts and lighter regulation, immediate worries over tariffs has clouded every other factor. adding fuel to the raging fire's heavy job cuts being implemented by Elon Musk and his Doge team. Beijing's retaliatory duties on certain U.S. agricultural goods came into force on Monday after Chinese products were hit with additional 20% U.S. tariffs. Trump, in a Fox News interview aired over the weekend, declined to predict whether his economic policies would cause a recession. A new wave threatens to arrive this week, with steep levies of 25% on steel and aluminium imports due to take effect on Wednesday. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, the Asian markets plunged on Tuesday as fears of a trade war triggering a U.S. recession fueled global sell-off. Investors scrambled for safe haven assets like the Japanese yen, while stocks across Japan, Taiwan and China tumbled. Japan's Nikkei and Taiwan's benchmark index both slid 3%, reaching their lowest levels since September 2024. Even China's strong-performing blue-chip index dropped 0.5%, while Hong Kong's Hang Seng fell 0.8%. The sell-off follows Wall Street's sharp decline on Monday, where the S&P 500 saw its biggest one-day drop this year, losing 2.7%, while the Nasdaq suffered a 4% plunge, its worst since the year 2022. Fears of an economic downturn have already erased $4 trillion from the S&P 500's peak last month, deepening concerns over global financial stability. And DW's Chiponda joins us with more details. Now, Chiponda, Germany's Green Party rejected the massive spending deal put forward by the Conservatives and Social Democrats. That would also leave hundreds of billions for defense and infrastructure spending in doubt. Please tell us, what does this mean for that massive spending plan, Chiponda?
Thanks for having me. Well, it essentially means that the Conservatives, that is the CDU and the CSU, and the Social Democrats, the SPD, will need to convince the Green Party to back their spending plan. Now, the package was supposed to free up 900 billion euros, and just over half was for infrastructure, and the rest is meant for defense. Now, that was, of course, a direct response to the US's shift from supporting Ukraine with military aid. To free up the money, Germany needs to loosen its debt brake rules, which limit government borrowing to 0.35% of GDP. That means the spending plan needs at least a two-thirds majority in the Bundestag, the parliament. And the two parties that are most likely to form Germany's next government will need to have the Greens on board if they want to reform Germany's government borrowing rules. But on Monday, the leaders of the Green Party group in the Bundestag said that they would ask their parliamentarians to vote against the spending plan.
Can we also expect an agreement on this, Chiponda?
Green Party politicians have been warning that the massive spending plan doesn't do enough to address climate change and that it might be used to finance tax cuts. So they have come up with a counter proposal. They want to see a higher amount of debt exempted from the government's borrowing rules when it comes to defense, for which the party also wants a broader definition. For the Greens, defense spending shouldn't just go to the army, but also intelligence activities and foreign aid in some situations. Now, the Conservatives and the Social Democrats said they were ready to negotiate with the Greens, so there is still some hope the spending plan will go through in the Bundestag in the coming days. But that is just the first hurdle.
Talking about it, Chiponda, what other challenges lie ahead?
If the plan is approved by the Bundestag, it will be sent to the second legislative chamber, and that is the Bundesrat. And there, it will also need a two-thirds majority. Now, the Bundesrat has representatives from Germany's 16 federal state governments. And because of its makeup, the plan will also need the support of the Left Party and the populist far-left BSW. And it is extremely unlikely the two parties will support defense spending. And there's also something else to consider. The vote on the plan could also be contested in the courts. That's because Friedrich Merz, who is most likely to be Germany's next chancellor, is rushing it through the old Bundestag to get it to pass before the Bundestag, the new Bundestag, which actually has a very different makeup, convenes for the first time towards the end of the month. So all eyes will be on Germany, because whether this moves forward or not has wider implications for the EU. It affects how much Europe's biggest economy can spend on supporting Ukraine and beefing up the German military.
All right, thank you so much, Ipona, for joining us from DW Berlin and bringing us the latest. You're watching DD India News Hour, and now it's time to get you all the latest from the world of sports. To begin with badminton first, two-time Olympic medalist PV Sindhu will spearhead India's charge at the All England Open Badminton Tournament in Birmingham, UK. PV Sindhu will return to the court for the first time since the Indonesia Masters in January. Malvika Bansod is the only other Indian along with PV Sindhu in women's singles category. In men's singles, world number 10 Lakshya Sen is all the best ranked Indian badminton player across the tournament. Lakshya made the semi-finals at the All England Championships in the last edition. Meanwhile, Satvik Sairaj, Ranki Reddy, Chirag Shetty are the 7th seed in the men's doubles category. The Indian pair have not played together since the Indonesia Masters in the month of January. Two-time All-England semi-finalists Risa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand, along with Tanisha Krasto and Ashwini Ponappa, are India's entries in women's doubles category, along with Priya and Shruti. Maharashtra's Siddharth Gadikar and Tenzin Dolma of Himachal Pradesh were the stars on day 2 of Khelo India Winter Games second leg in Gulmarg. Siddharth Gadikar laid his hands on 2 medals, which is a silver in men's sprint category and a gold in men's vertical competition. Tenzin Dolma showcased rare mental strength to clinch her first ever medal at the Games. Dolma's state mate Natasha took the silver and Menka Gunjial of Uttarakhand settled for a bronze. Defending champion Indian Army sits atop the medal standings with 4 gold, 4 silver and 5 bronze medals. In tennis, two-time defending champion Carlos Alcaraz powered past Canadian Denis Shapovalov by 6-2, 6-4 to continue his march towards the Indian Wells Masters title for the 3rd time. The world number 3 booked his place in the last 16 with a clinical victory against Shapovalov. Alcaraz said there were still a few things that he could improve as he tries to join Roger Federer and Novak Djokovic as the only men to win 3 straight titles. In other matches, world number 4 Taylor Fritz secured 4-6, 6-3 and 6-1 victory over Chilean Alejandro Tobilo. Argentina's Francisco Pete Potich won this and Scholl by 6-3 and 6-4, ending his glorious run. Cirindro next plays Australian 9th seed Alex de Minaur. The top 5 women's seeds are safely into the 4th round after victories for world number 1 Arina Sabalenka, 3rd ranked Coco Gauff and 5th ranked Madison Keys. The Jaipur Polo Ground in New Delhi is all set to host the PMC Advisors Northern India Polo Championship from Tuesday. Players from many countries of the world along with many ambassadors will be seen at the week-long tournament. Here's a report.
New Delhi's Jaipur Polo Ground is all set to host the BMC Advisors Northern India Polo Championship on Tuesday. Earlier, during a press event, the tournament trophy and the jerseys of the teams participating in the competition were unveiled. On this occasion, BJP MP and Jindal Panthers player Naveen Jindal said that this time there is an atmosphere of enthusiasm among the players for the tournament.
Northern India Polo Championship अभी इस हफ्ते चलेगा होगा इसके मैचेस होंगे और ये जो है भारत का जो सबसे उच्च स्तरीय जो पोलो चैंपियनशिप है ये वो है और हमारी टीम जिंदल पैंथर टीम भी इसके अंदर हिस्सा ले रही है.
Players from many countries of the world will also be seen on the field in this tournament. Argentina's ambassador Mariano Casino believes that exciting games will be seen in the championship.
We are very happy that this opportunity of attending this polo championship, in which I am always very happy and glad to observe the recognition that the Indian people have for the polo tradition in Argentina regarding the horses and the best players in the world.
Speaking at the event, Ambassador of Paraguay to India, Fleming Duarte, said he looks forward to the tournament.
I know that India also is very much close to Argentina, where the good horses are coming from. So I started to go to polo 3 to 4 years ago, thanks to my friend Brijesh Mathur. And I believe that Indian polo is very competitive. You have a great performers in this particular sport. I believe that India must be amongst the top 5 in the world.
Teams are all set for the exciting matches that will be played between Jindal Panthers, Crisil Jindal, Achievers and Jaipur Delta at the BMC Advisors Northern India Polo Championship. The final match of the tournament will be played on March 16th. Sushil Kumar's report for DD India.
That's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code to download it right now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Deepika, and from all of us here in New Delhi, thank you so much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.